Okay, let's get the show on the road. Welcome to a product demo partnership webinar collaboration between Rivet and Followup CRM. Today, we're going to talk about what it takes to build profitable relationships with Followup CRM, Rivet, and Viewpoint Vista. As soon as I get on the right window here, I can change slides for you. Okay, so you are in the right place if you're looking to learn a few of the following things. What's Followup CRM? Why do they exist? Why did Followup CRM and Rivet decide to team up and put forth an integration? And what does that integration look like, particularly with Viewpoint Vista? So hopefully you are at least a user of Viewpoint Vista or are at least considering Viewpoint Vista as your ERP of the future, and you're looking for a CRM solution between Vista and Followup. My name is Mike Caesar. I am the marketing director at Rivet. It's my pleasure today to kind of wrangle the cats, if you will. Eric Vargas is the Chief Operating Officer at Followup CRM. He's been a fantastic partner in this venture with us. He knows a lot about the product. He knows a lot about the customer side of the business over at Followup CRM. He's got extensive experience over there. So I'm very excited to have him on board and talk to us a little bit about what they have going on, what they've built, why they built it, so on and so forth. So Eric, say hello.
Yeah, good one.
And then on the Rivet side, we've got the product leader with us, Chris Collins, who has been boots on the ground effort directly involved with building the integration between Followup CRM and Viewpoint Vista. He works tirelessly with the Followup team to make sure that we're mapping data correctly, accurately, and securely. So Chris, say hi.
Hello.
All right. Also on the panel, behind the scenes, you've got Tammy Alexander, who leads sales and partnerships, and then my right-hand man, Patrick Nye, who helps with all the creative direction. So let's hand it over to Eric. Without further ado, it's story time. So Eric's going to talk to us a little bit about where Followup CRM came from, what inspired the business, and where they're at today.
Great. Yeah, thank you. So to kick us off, just to know how we started, we were founded by Greg Wallach. You can see him here with his red hair and his afro speaking at a conference. Greg Wallach, he is a Florida native. He runs a company called Best Roofing. They're one of the top 10 largest commercial roofing companies in the country. They're located in Fort Lauderdale, Florida. And we were founded in 2008, right after the crash. So what happened was they were tracking everything on spreadsheets, kind of like most construction companies and contractors out there. And what he realized is he had no idea where his future jobs were coming from. And, he would call it spray and pray. Or another way to think about it is bid and beg. You throw a price out there and you see if they say yes or they say no. So when Greg saw this problem, he looked out there in the industry for CRMs, and you might have heard of, the big names out there like Salesforce or HubSpot. He tried those CRMs. He even attended some of those conferences, but it really didn't fit his business model the way he needed a CRM to work. So he teamed up with somebody at his company to design Followup CRM for his company. And for the first few years, he was just kind of working on out all the kinks for his own company, adding features here and there. But Greg's very well known in the industry. So from there, his buddies started to actually hop on board with the system as well. And they were seeing the same success that he was seeing. This year, they're going to hit 65 million in revenue. When he first started the company back in 2008, they were at 6 million in revenue. So he's seen a lot of growth by managing his leads, his bids, his opportunities, and his clients. And now we serve 2,000 contractors all over the country. So that's a little bit about our past. We were developed by construction companies for construction companies.
I love it. It's a great story.
Yeah. And at the end of the day, we're solving a problem. To take a step back, what is a CRM? CRM stands for Customer Relationship Management. right? And that can mean a lot of things. However, just think about how you might be managing your client relationships today. You might have a spreadsheet, and then you might have another spreadsheet for your bids, and then another spreadsheet for your leads that come in. And your salespeople, your project manager, they probably have their own spreadsheet and they're tracking their own information. And so what you wind up with is a bunch of disintegrated spreadsheets all over the place. And it's really hard to pull all that information together into one place so that you can get some analytics and data to see what's actually going on. Are we bidding enough? Are we following up enough, right? And if you're really tech savvy, you might have a spreadsheet like the one on the right with all the numbers. But even then, that doesn't scale when you have a team that you have to manage, right? So the direct problem that we solve is we really help our clients get off of spreadsheets, get off of this old archaic way of kind of running the business, and transform their company into bringing them into the modern age with a CRM like Followup.
Yeah. So leading into this next slide here, I remember asking you over the course of putting this together, talk to me a little bit about the difference between traditional CRMs, like you see on the left with HubSpot and Pipedrive, Salesforce. What stands out on this slide is the way that you guys organize projects and accounts. So let's dive into that. I'd love to hear that again.
Yeah. So, we have a lot of companies that come to us and they say, yeah, we're evaluating Followup CRM, maybe HubSpot and Salesforce or Zoho. And the big difference is I tried to describe it right here with this graph. Now, let's say you are bidding a project to multiple clients or like GCs. Let's say you're a contractor and you're putting a roof, in Greg's case, on to a stadium. He has to work with GCs to accomplish that project because it's not only a roof, it's electrical, it's mechanical, it's HVAC, it's a whole bunch of trades coming together into one that the GC manages, right? So when you're bidding that project out, the contractor doesn't really care who wins the job because they might bid to 2, 3, 4 different GCs that are managing this whole project. So you can see right here, the account is represented by the GCs that you're bidding to. But underneath that, you'll see project one, project one, project one, and that represents the stadium roof, right? Or the project that you're actually bidding. Now, in all of these generic CRMs, you have to duplicate that opportunity underneath each account to track it properly. And the reason why that does not work is because these are duplicate opportunities associated with each account, and then it throws off all your reporting, all your analytics, everything. The whole reason why you get a CRM, to get those insights and to get those reports, it doesn't really work that way directly configured out of the box how these popular CRMs have it out there. Rather, we're the other way around, where we're centered on the project. We're tracking the project, and then you attach the account to the project. So GC number 1, 2, and 3 are all associated with a singular project so that we can accurately represent the bidding process, right? So we track that. You can call it sales process or a direct to owner sales process, a residential sales process. We can bring that all together with Followup.
So you started in 2008, right? So that means you're 13 years old now. What have you guys learned over the last 13 years? Like what organizing a project like this or your accounts like this, what is the significant breakthrough here versus some of the other options that are, at this stage more well known, right? Salesforce and HubSpot, you can't deny the brand recognition there. What are you guys hearing from clients that have adopted Followup CRM for their sales model? What's the big win?
So we have a lot of clients that come from Salesforce or HubSpot to Followup because I call it like a 50% fit. They start to track some things, but because it doesn't track things this way, it doesn't really fit entirely at the company. And then the adoption doesn't really penetrate the company that way it needs to. All the people don't embrace it the way they need to track all their leads and opportunities and clients and develop more relationships. And, we've learned so many things along the way. And one thing that we've learned is that, construction companies, they're very relationship based. And when you're bidding out a project, sometimes it could take 12, 18 months to really manage that relationship and close that opportunity. And that's why we're called follow-up, because it's imperative just to follow up with the opportunities along the way throughout the sales process. So you're developing that relationship and increasing your likelihood of being awarded that project. One thing that we learned is that 48% of salespeople never follow up with a lead. And it's amazing. Wow. Because that's where the money is, right? So that's they throw a price out there and nothing happens, right? So
I could feel Tammy just like cringing right now. It's like, what are you talking about? 48%.
100%.
They never follow up, right? Only 15% follow up twice, more than twice. And then they stop, right? And so the reason why we're called follow up is because our founder, Greg Wallach, he realized if I'm just the last one in the game following up, I'm going to win more opportunities. So what we saw is that, a little goes a long way. Greg told me the story of how he won the Trump building in Doral in Miami. And it took him 3 years to win that job, $4 million project. He was the highest bidder. And his sales guy, he just sent out an email once a quarter. Hey, how's it going? Checking in. That's it. That's all he did. And after they were awarded the project, Greg asked him, hey, why do you guys award us the project? They said, well, you were the highest, but you just checked in with us. You're the only one that checked in with us after the first year. That's the only reason. So they knew if you checked in with them that, if they're this good in the front end of the process, they'll be good on the back end in delivering what they were supposed to deliver.
Yeah. So I know I'm going to put you on the spot here because this is a little off script from what we've practiced, but seeing that your name is Followup CRM, do you guys have any features built into the platform that actually make it easier and kind of build in the reminders to your team and hold them accountable to that follow-up activity?
Yeah, absolutely. So the way I like to say it is you set it and forget it. So some people, they would set a follow-up reminder for 3 months down the road. No one remembers to do that, right? So that's why the reminders are so important, because when that time actually comes up, you'll get triggered a notification to follow up with the client and you do it. It's following up and following through on what was promised. And, one trick that I've learned along the way is when somebody says, yeah, follow up with me in 3 months. I'm like, are you sure you want me to? Or are you just being nice? I'd rather be told no now than schedule this follow-up and bother you in 3 months. If you're being nice, just tell me no, it's okay. You don't hurt my feelings. But if you're really interested in 3 months, I will follow up with you. And lo and behold, 3 months comes down and I follow up with them, or our clients follow up with their clients, and they're like, wow, you guys are very professional. So taking that to the next level.
Yeah. It's amazing how just doing what you say you're going to do, right? Actually following through, right? It's a game changer in today's professional world. It's kind of sad that seems like just basic professionalism, but the bar is not that high to prove your moxie in front of a prospect these days.
Sure.
Tammy, do you have any thoughts there? Any sales wisdom you can bestow upon us?
I actually always say that the only way to gain a customer's trust is to be with them from the very beginning. And building that relationship is extremely important, answering their questions, even though they're not a customer yet. So absolutely following up and being part of their journey from the very, very beginning is extremely important. So good stuff you guys are doing, Eric.
Yeah, I love it. All right. So obviously, for those of you tuning in, to learn today. If you would like to learn more about Followup CRM, I'm sure Eric would point you in the right direction of people on his team to answer some more nuanced questions. But again, feel free to smash that Q&A button, that Q&A feature here today. Don't wait until the very end. We do have a Q&A section at the end, but if you see something on the slides today during the presentation, feel free to chime up and ask your questions in the moment. We'll try and answer them in the moment. So let's move on from the solution that is Followup CRM and talk a little bit about integration. I think that's why most people are here today, is they want to see how data flows between Followup CRM and Viewpoint Vista. Before we get to that, I want to know, Eric, from your perspective and from the Followup CRM team, why does integration matter to you guys when you think about designing your product, when you think about playing well with others? What is the what's the focus point? What's the primary benefit to you and your customer base when you think about integration?
Yeah, so the way I like to describe this to people is that you wouldn't go to your general practitioner for brain surgery. Why? Because your neurosurgeon is the expert in that field. And that's what Followup CRM is intending to do, is be the expert in managing your leads, bids, clients, following up, making sure nothing falls through the cracks, and managing your bids and contracts efficiently, right? And if we integrate with other expert tools that are already out there and been building their solutions for 10, 20 years, they're the experts in their field, whether it's accounting or estimating, whatever it is. We would rather go to our clients and say, they are the experts here, we are the experts here, and we're joining forces to bring you a unified solution so that you get the best of both worlds, best of breed technology coming together. That's why. And then having the data flow from one to the other, everybody, that's the nirvana that everybody's looking for, right? And to make sure it's almost like one seamless ERP, one seamless brain for the company, so that your data doesn't get manipulated accidentally or on purpose, or that you can get the insights and reports that you need to grow your business at the end of the day. And things happen by accident all the time, especially when you're keying in data from this system to that system. You don't want that to happen, and things fall through the cracks that way.
Yeah, that's a good point. I definitely see a growing recognition for knitting together best of breed solutions, both with the partners that we work with and also with the customer base. There was a mad dash not too long ago to go out and purchase. The construction industry at large just went through a massive purchase decision, across the board to get all these different technology tools into place. And then a year, 2 years into implementation and having those tools in place and kind of revamping your processes around that technology, there was this kind of sense that like, we're not quite getting the ROI that was sold to us, and we haven't quite figured out why. And then the conversation changed to, well, actually, we know why. It's because we've got to spin up a massive team of tech people. So we're not just a construction firm anymore. We're not just a roofing firm anymore. We also have a tech team that is on salary to help us manage data between all these systems. And so I think the next step in evolution there is, okay, we've got best in breed solutions for each of our teams. Our teams love these solutions. They do their job well, more efficiently. The next frontier is moving data between those systems in a way that all team members have access to the data that they need to do their job more effectively. And we don't have to be dependent on a master of Excel spreadsheets to manage an export and import process day in, day out, right? So, all right, let's talk specifically about. I would like you to pat Rivet on the back a little bit. This is my vanity slide. This is the plug, right? So obviously, there's a few different routes that companies can go when they've made the decision to invest in integration. And Followup CRM decided to invest in a partnership with Rivet. So if you wouldn't mind, just give us 30 seconds on why Rivet made sense to Followup CRM and what kind of benefit that should lead to for your customer base.
Yeah, and basically what it comes down to is like what I was saying before is about focus, right? We get to focus on building a world-class CRM. We have our product roadmap for years to come. We build our product based on our client feedback. And, we have a small group of clients of ours that really influence that product roadmap. And we like to deliver on what they're requesting, right? And likewise, that is why we wanted to integrate with Rivet, because they are the experts in the integration field where we're not. And we've learned a lot along the process, just partnering up with Rivet the way we have. And, and it's only been the first year. So it's been really great. And not only that, they help us manage the relationships with the other construction ERPs out there so that we know what's coming down the pike, and they can leverage their expertise where it's necessary. And then together we can stay focused on delivering the best solution to the client.
Awesome. Thank you. Yeah, you guys have been a great partner here in the early going, really helping us understand the CRM space and helping us just kind of crack into that. I know that there's been, you guys bring over 2,000 customers to the table that have fallen in love with your product. So you're certainly lightning in a bottle there in terms of understanding how the construction industry needs a CRM to work. And that's really been, for me, excuse me, I'm 2 years into the role here at Rivet. I come from a tech background in other industries, and really learning about the nuanced way that the construction industry needs their technology to work. It's very different from other industries. And so it really only makes sense to have a CRM dedicated to the construction industry from my perspective, because you guys don't go after sales the same way that other industries do. And you have different ways of doing business than, say, the retail world or hospitality. So yeah, from where I sit, this is the kind of tool that you're absolutely right. I can tell that the focus on expertise is there, and you guys have decided to stay in your lane, and you've executed well in that lane for sure.
Yeah, we have people coming to us all the time saying, even outside the construction industry, oh, you guys are a CRM. Oh, you guys are named Followup. Those are our problems that we're trying to solve. And, at the end of the day, the way construction sells or wins new projects is just different than the rest of the world. It's about managing relationships, building profitable relationships, and maintaining those relationships as you're working on projects together, and coordinating, different trades, different engineers, GCs, permits. It's a lot, and it's very unique to the industry, and that's why we have a product roadmap that's built out, for a long time, and we're excited to deliver on these features, which is why we focused on connecting with Rivet, and we're excited about our partnership.
Yeah, likewise. All right, let's shift attention to the integration map. So this is where Chris Collins gets to be the star of the show. Eric, I might tap you on the shoulder to provide some color commentary, and we will also get to some questions. Actually, speaking of questions, we have one from Rob here that just popped in. So before I give it over to Chris officially, let's ask one question here for Eric. So is Followup CRM still pursuing integration with Foundation Construction accounting software? Oh, thanks, Rob. You're asking about a different ERP. we'll let it slip in. So Foundation Construction, where are you guys pursuing an integration there?
Yeah, we already have one, so we're good.
Okay, it's already in place, Rob. If you would like to talk with the Followup CRM team offline, then you can certainly pursue that. Okay, Chris, what we see here on the screen is an integration map between Vista and Followup CRM. I'll just describe briefly what we're looking at. So the arrows in either direction means that data flows from one system to the other. So we color coded it. So this is a bi-directional integration, which means ultimately data does flow between Followup CRM and Vista. You can see the different, each row, we consider it a runner, right, internally, or a different element, a different aspect of the integration at large. So Chris, why don't you talk us through the different elements here, and then we've got some screenshots here to kind of bring this conversation to life.
Great, thanks, Mike.
Yep.
At a high level, this integration links your sales processes and Followup to your project execution processes in Vista. So you need accurate jobs created and linked. You need to respect your JC departments that you have set up so your accounting is correct. And you don't want to dual entry on your customers and your companies, right? You already know who these people are. You've captured them in Followup CRM. When they make that win, you want to pull that into Vista. So at a high level, that's what this does. It links your sales processes with your project execution processes. So when that project in Followup CRM is won, the customer that the client, in Followup that gets the win will generate a customer in Vista if one already doesn't exist, and then it will create a contract, and then it will create a job. So what you're seeing here is how we map that project file data from Followup CRM to that JC job in Vista. And we could get into some questions here if there are specifics, but you will have a job created in your job costing module the moment that's won in Followup.
Yeah, so it looks like, name gets mapped over to description in JC jobs. Address is pretty self-explanatory. That gets put in the appropriate fields. Are there any other fields I'm missing? Sales status is contract in Followup CRM, and then contract.
So we do bring over a default liability template for you. You may want to adjust that some as you go. We do set the PR state based on the job address, but name, address, a few of those liability template, PR state we bring over, and then we will bring over any other defaults you have set up in your Vista environment. But it gives you that concrete skeleton of a linked record for you to build forward into your project execution.
Got it. Eric, any comments here?
Yeah, at the end of the day, what we're trying to do is just do the heavy lifting for you so that you don't have to go back and forth between, systems and do that duplicate entry.
Got it. Yep. All right, JC contracts.
Yep, for all the Vista users, you can't have a job without a contract. We also take care of creating that core contract. We do create one contract per project in Followup, one job per project in Followup. So you'll maintain that, one Followup project to one JC contract to one JC job arrangement. So we will create that contract and that job at the same time whenever that project is won in Followup. And then similar to the job record, we do create a basic contract record with a single contract item, very much as you would get if you created the contract directly in Vista. And then if you do any special accounting and you need additional contract lines, those can be added to that record that was automatically brought over for you.
So am I reading this correctly? The yellow fields are the ones that are essentially updated in Vista?
No, that is not correct. So
no?
Vista marks yellow the required properties.
Got it.
Required fields. So the yellow ones there are Vista's required fields, which we populate directly from Followup. Some others are defaulted from Vista defaulting logic.
Contract start month, is that a Vista default or is that pulled over from the project?
Nope. We set that to the current month that is executing in Vista whenever we create it. So it was just one today, we create it in this month.
Okay. All right, no questions from the audience yet. So Chris is giving a perfect explanation here.
So, if you're in Vista and you use multiple departments, which many Vista users do to track their accounting differently, we do support the job costing departments feature in Vista as contract types and Followup. So as you have created that opportunity in follow up, and you put out all your bids, and you track the contract type that it's going to be. Maybe you have multiple lines of business, and you track those in your accounting platform, Vista, through JC departments. You just need to select the right contract type at the opportunity phase, and that will automatically come over in the correct JC department for you. So your job accountants will have one less thing they'll need to do.
Nice. Eric, any comments here?
No, yeah, it's pretty straightforward. Whenever we're setting the system up, if you're coming from the Vista side first, then we would map these to how the system is set up, or vice versa.
Got it. All right, so bi-directional data flow here, Chris.
Yep. So we have an intelligent linking for customers. So as you can imagine, in a CRM tool, you're going to have clients that are not customers yet, right? You're not going to be sending them bills because they didn't win or they didn't accept your bid. So we respect that. We understand that in the integration. As a job is won, we'll look at the follow-up data and see that, oh, it's customer 123. If customer 123 is not in Vista yet, we will then create that customer. So, if you have contacts, companies, clients in Followup CRM that you haven't won business with, they're not going to be cluttering your Vista AR customer register. Every AR customer that we create will have a contract created with them and a job. So we keep that data nice and clean for you, but we also keep it accurate, right? So your names, your addresses for those customers are going to remain consistent across the platforms. You won't have any data silos there. And then you'll have the AR customers in Vista you need for billing, and you'll have the clients in follow-up you need to continue to pursue new business.
Got it. Looks good. And this is just for JC. I think we've got a map here to talk about SM as well.
We do. So with Followup, we've integrated to 2 different modules within Vista. You have the JC module, which we just went through in detail, and then you have the service management module. Very similar integration conceptually, right? We integrate SM customers to companies just like we did AR customers to companies. But instead of creating JC contracts and JC jobs, we have the ability, based on different project information from Followup, to create a work order quote or a work order, a work order quote or an SM agreement. So whether you're going out on a job for a fix or you're selling a contract for years of service, you can track both of those types of opportunities in Followup, and as they become wins, we'll create that quote or that agreement. And then the process within Vista, as it becomes a work order from that quote, we'll update Followup CRM so you can keep track of all the data that you've got a CRM for, right? To know your wins and what your final totals were.
And Eric, are these considered the JC integration versus the SM integration? Are they considered 2 different products? And how does it work to get those added to your Followup CRM subscription?
Yeah, so you would talk to one of our sales guys about that, and they would talk to you about pricing. Right now it's just a flat fee to get the integration set up and rolled out. But this would be joint with the Vista integration. So that's how we're pricing that out.
Got it. And they're two separate products, right? The JC versus the SM.
Right. You might use one, you might use both. So
yeah. Okay. All right. So question time. I don't see any questions in the Q&A section at the moment. And we just talked about, what immediate next steps are. So for those of you in attendance today, if you don't have any questions, I'm not going to drag this out, excuse me, and make this, a long exit here. But, as far as immediate next steps, this integration is being sold by Followup CRM, and then it's being powered by Rivet behind the scenes. You would work with Followup CRM sales team to get it added to your subscription. And then you would work with their customer success team to get it implemented. You would probably see a few pieces of communication from Rivet to help with the connectivity pieces and help with any kind of troubleshooting during the onboarding process. But for the most part, your main point of contact would be Followup CRM, mostly because we want to make it easy on you and your team from a communication standpoint. We don't necessarily need to get too many cooks in the kitchen. We can get this up and running in very short order. It does not take long at all. There's some implementations of new software can take several months to half a year. This is not that case. This is, we're talking a couple of weeks. So you could certainly pull the trigger on this quarter and start seeing results, before the end of the year for your accounting team and your sales team in terms of moving data between the two systems. So,
Mike, one thing I want to quickly add from a Vista perspective is that Rivet is a Viewpoint partner. I don't think we hit on that.
Oh yeah.
We are certified to build this connectivity to both on-prem and cloud environments of Viewpoint. So for those of you on the call today, listening in, whether you're hosted in the cloud, in the Viewpoint Enterprise Cloud, using Viewpoint One, or hosted in your own on-prem environment using Vista installed locally, Rivet can help get that connectivity up and running for you, no matter where you are hosted. Just wanted to make sure the Viewpoint world knew that today.
Yep, that's a good point. We get asked that pretty much every single engagement. Every customer is curious, which it's important. We need to know where your data sits and how it's sitting on the server so that we can access it securely. Phone number there takes you directly to Followup CRM. The URL takes you to a live demo request for Followup CRM. So go talk with them. They're a great team. They're fantastic people. They're not going to lead you astray. They're not going to sell you something that you don't need. They do a great job of helping prospects understand the benefits and the limitations of the technology that they've built, and they'll be the first ones to tell you whether or not it's a good idea or a good fit. And then, on the other side of that, you're working with Rivet and you've got data flowing. So thank you all very much for joining us today. We're going to wrap up here at 11:37 Central. Nice and quick, get in and get out. If you have any questions, you know how to find us, and we'd love to be in touch soon. Thank you all.
Thank you.